All right, some exciting news. Struggles with utxo, the DApp errors, the congestion issues after Cardano testnet went up led to users asking for help and complaining across a variety of different forums and platforms. And we know that just MiniSwap, which is a decentralized exchange on Cardano, confirmed that it has shut down its testnet temporarily. Well, it's going to be at least a couple of weeks, if not more, before it's back online. But needless to say, the entire crypto community reaction are not positive, and this can be seen with the huge drop, or at least sort of like a mini crash of Cardano and Bitcoin and other crypto tokens. What's up, YouTube community? Welcome to Invest Desk, your #1 channel for cryptocurrency investing, daily news updates and forecasts. My name is Syed, and we're going to talk about MiniSwap and, of course, the problem with smart contracts, the complexity of smart contracts and congestion issues that MiniSwap, in fact, faced that led to its testnet shutdown. And, of course, the blame is shifted on Cardano, and then Charles Hoskinson, who's the CEO of Cardano, he has come out in defense, talking about the complexity of smart contract, and the world goes on. Like I say, guys, crypto is a crazy world, and of course, we need to be on top of things so we can make informed decisions. So we're going to talk about a little bit more on the decentralized exchange, which is MiniSwap, running on Cardano, and of course, Charles is defending Cardano. He's saying we're not responsible for MiniSwap and there's nothing to fix. There is no problem. You guys aren't getting it, right? That's his reply to MiniSwap. However, from the MiniSwap end, MiniSwap said it's unfortunate that we have to shut down our testnet temporarily. We have gathered enough data from our testers to improve the fundamental of our DEX. In the next few days, we'll publish our post-mortem, our scaling solution, and when testnet will be opened up again. So yeah, there's a little back and forth, but we know that the crypto market is down. Bitcoin is all the way down to 46,000. It was like 52,000. So hey, think about it. Ethereum is down about 11% in the last 24 hours to 3,400. Cardano is of course down almost 11% as we speak to $2.50. BNB, Binance Coin, is down about 16%, and of course Dogecoin is down 16% to 25 cents, and so on. So, and SafeMoon is down to 19 cents, guys, right? So in the entire crypto market reaction to this is just mind-boggling. It's just crazy because most of these reactions are amazing because that's how crypto works, guys, right? So we must learn how the crypto market functions, right? And of course, through our experiences for the last 6-7 months with InvestDesk, we have seen many of these. We've seen several crashes, we've seen several high returns as well, like 5x, 10x, 2x, right? So we need to be careful as to what these news and the impact of these type of news like MiniSwap, right? And we know that MiniSwap, of course, enables and connected to network of DeFi ecosystems, and MiniSwap provides a decentralized platform for exercising financial products. And that's really the goal behind MiniSwap itself, which is trading is staking, right? But on the testnet running on Cardano, it kind of failed. And that's really important to see how the market reacts to such things. Now, we know that smart contracts are fairly complex. And there's no such thing as a fully decentralized finance, right? DeFi. There's still many complexities when you actually create or design some of these areas. So we know that after several months of testing, Cardano public testnet was fairly recently upgraded to support smart contracts. So this kind of activity led the price of Cardano go up quite a bit, and it's still predicted to continue to rise. However, this surge of activity that kind of followed included many dApps, tests, and experiments with Cardano developers eager to perform a large-scale test and show off, of course, all of the work that they've been doing. Now, this effort has created, several discussions around some of the design decisions behind Cardano. And that's really what MiniSwap is talking about here as well. Many critics are using this discussion, of course, as an opportunity to point to Cardano, misrepresent the problem, right? And that's how it is. In the crypto world, any news, anything that is sort of like misrepresented or not fully understood, I should say, kind of goes a long way, guys, right? And it takes a market several months to even recover. And of course, ultimately underestimate the potential of one of the giants, which is Cardano. So these sort of misconceptions are now floating around, suggesting that Cardano only supports one transaction per block. Only one user can interact with a smart contract at a time. Now we know that this is a misconception, that's not entirely true, and that Cardano is ultimately destined for centralization. So all of these are inaccurate, right? Because we know that that's not how blockchain functions. And there's several things that we can take a look at. For example, the real art of design systems is sometimes just selecting between, the trade-offs. And we can track the career growth of, let's say, an engineer by how well they recognize and employ these trade-offs to solve a particular or a certain problem. And people have also pointed out, by the way, that Cardano's choice of utxo can create issues when porting protocols. And of course that may be true, but to really take a look at the impact of why Cardano used this, let's take a look at, for example, Bitcoin. I mean, if you look at, Bitcoin, when it was introduced to the world, right, basically to the notion of tracking user funds using unspent transaction outputs, right? That's really what utxo stands for. It's unspent transaction outputs. What that means is that each transaction between users consumes some inputs and produces some outputs. Standard computer formula, right? With each output representing a value, right? A bundle of value, such as maybe a few Bitcoin, and a declaration of who can spend it. That's really the unspent transaction output, and of course, what happens in between. So for example, if someone sent you a Bitcoin, there would be a transaction with an output of 1 Bitcoin. If someone sends you 1 Bitcoin, of course, it'll be an equivalent transaction of 1 Bitcoin as the outcome. With the owner, of course, the public key is the owner. Now, you could send that 1 Bitcoin to someone by simply transacting again that consumes that input, which implies that that input really is saying that, yes, this is something that I'm sending to yet another third party, the same 1 Bitcoin. And now you're declaring a new output with a new owner. And that's how sort of like blockchain works, right? It goes from one transaction to the other. So, of course, the real benefit of all of this, right, is that it's simple and secure to validate. The entire chain needs to be validated. And of course, it's easy to validate these kind of transactions in a block in parallel. So when we talk about parallel, it simply checks the signature on each transaction, right? And that's how blockchain sort of like fundamentally functions. And it's not only that, it's also deterministic. So for example, when the user creates and submits the transaction, when you click on that button, right, basically explicitly declaring what the section of that blockchain ledger should look like after the transaction is to be accepted. But the entire transaction scenario concerns comes at the cost of systems when we talk about at a global scale. Now, Bitcoin has been using this for many years and successfully using this, right? But Bitcoin sometimes, even has had a difficult time introducing smart contracts because many applications, they want to access global state. For example, let's say, a list of users or authorized users or the total supply and so on. And likewise, if you compare it with Ethereum in contrast, right? For example, Ethereum chooses to keep track of, let's say, all these global set of account balances. The ledger state is mapping from address to balance. And for example, a simple transaction here increments and decrements, for example, up, goes up and down, accounts balances in pairs. So yeah, I don't want to get into more, huge complexity here, but just take a look at, if there are more complex transactions, you can do more complex things. And that's really how the UTXO model kind of works and is based on. So let's come back to Cardano, now that you know the basics, right? So when we talk about Cardano chose instead to improve on the UTXO model, right? Enough that dApps themselves could make all these trade-offs between operation and centralization. The EUTXO model that Cardano led, right, the research, introduces 3 primitive for smart contracts, right? The datum, the redeemer, and the validator. So the datum is just a piece of data attached to a single transaction or UTXO. The redeemer represents the signal of what to do. And then the validator finally represents the conditions under which the UTXO can be spent, including validating whether the new state is correct or not. So that's really the model that Cardano used. So of course, critics are saying that Cardano is flawed because it only allows 1 transaction per block, like I mentioned earlier. Well, it's just the opposite. Cardano does allow many hundreds of transactions per block. And there could be other questions like only 1 user can interact with a smart contract per block or per transaction. And that's also not entirely true, or that's not true, because the contention is around the UTXO. But many UTXOs may be governed by the same contract. It really comes down to the shift in thinking from Ethereum when you call into smart contract and kind of like make it do something. So this is what happens, guys. Like things like MiniSwap is trying to create some FUD around Cardano. The entire crypto market kind of goes down, right? Because majority of the people, individuals, of course, they're non-technical. They don't understand smart contracts, and that's really the crypto world itself. It requires a lot of education, and people still need to understand how crypto works and how these smart contracts are deployed and the functions and what happens when something goes wrong, right? So typically, exchanges like MiniSwap, for example, having these issues, it's easy to shift the blame to Cardano, right? And back and forth. So that's really the idea. But we're back. Look at the crypto market here. Bitcoin, of course, is still down because we're reacting to this news, whether it's just fear, uncertainty, and doubt. That's the buzzword in the crypto market, right? That's how the market sentiments and that's how investors kind of take a look at. But if you understand the technicalities a little bit better, it kind of puts you at ease. Yeah, things will be fixed maybe in a week or 2, and that's really the MiniSwap, trying to figure out how to get it fully functional one more time. All right, so that's all I had for the downswing of the crypto market and the reasons why. So now you know it. Thanks so much. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell notification, because InvestDesk is your #1 channel for cryptocurrency news, updates, research, and of course, my name is Syed, and I will see you guys next time.